Margins, as I just said, sorry, at home guys, we didn't have the camera set up, so I'm just repeating for you. You may not draw lines, you may not fold the paper to make a margin. The idea is to have a clean presentation, so really need you just to eyeball it and say, yeah, the distance before the writing starts on the left-hand side, I need to leave that distance on the right-hand side. And this really doesn't want to go to number 2. God and gods. Okay, there are a number of different religions. It's really done pretty easily. In the English language, if you are talking about a monotheistic religion, that means they believe in one God, don't matter which religion it is. If you're talking about God, the God, it would be capitalized. If you're talking about a polytheistic religion, where there are lots of gods, then it would be lowercase when you talk about God. Okay, can we do it? Yeah. The same thing is true when you use the word Bible. It's true for Torah, it's true for Quran, and that is, no matter what you believe, it's the title of a book. Book titles in the English language are capitalized. So whether you think that's the wrong religion or the right religion doesn't matter. In the English language, those are capitalized. You need to listen carefully to what I'm saying. If you don't understand exactly what it is, I cannot repeat it to you because it turned out to be kind of obscene, but somebody did not hear what I said for one particular thing. And they wrote it completely innocently. I'm sure to this day they don't have any idea what they wrote. But the idea is, if you don't understand what I'm saying, ask me. Ask me to spell it. Ask me to say it more clearly. I had a class a few years back, a book called Something Wicked This Way Comes. It was a classics book. And there was this group of evil things that were drawn by misery, unhappiness. Only the person, one of the kids on the test said they were drawn by Missouri, the state, which made no sense at all. I mean, they took place in Illinois, but they were drawn by Missouri. So make sure that you understand what it is that I'm saying. You know, he got up one day and he started a war. Yeah. Nobody just one day starts a war. So when you think about writing the word one day, as a number of you guys do to begin thoughts, you know, one day he fell over dead. One day he jumped off a cliff. How he didn't come up with it and say, that's why I'm filling my day, jumping off a cliff. So get rid of the one day. If you just said he decided to start a war, that would be perfectly acceptable. Let me jump in here also, beginning a sentence with the word but, and, or the word so. Any one of those, a mature writer can make a complete English sentence, but you guys don't often do that. Most of the time you give me a sentence fragment, which means it's only a partial thought because you went to France. If you separate that and just took it, is that a complete thought because he went to France? No, that's part of the sentence before. So it shouldn't be capitalized. It shouldn't be another sentence. It's just a clause. Okay. Somebody, actually a few people, well, only one said Quaker/Society of Friends. You have to choose one. Authors choose their words and never, ever, ever write he/she. But I don't want to be a sexist. I want to make sure that I'm not gender specific. Then go plural and say they. Say a person. Say one. There's all kinds of ways not to be sexist without doing he/she. If he/she went/arrived at the Quaker/Society of Friends building, who could read that? You don't have multiple choices for words. Choose the one you want. Did I talk to you guys about I think? Okay, I think, sorry, nobody cares what you think, you're 12. What you need to do is get rid of it. It weakens arguments. If in fact you say, I think that Gus is a good guy, well, obviously Hallie will say, I don't, and we're even. Okay, now, how do you get rid of that? Get rid of the I think. Gus is a good guy. Then I explain my reasoning. Anyway, so I was like walking down the street, so I came to the drugstore, so I went in. So I reached for a candy bar, so it was good. So as I was walking home, that's sloppy speech. Those are called filler words. It means you're not thinking before you speak. A few of you, very few of you, but there are a couple of you that use the word so as if we were having a conversation and you're speaking sloppily. It doesn't add anything. So he went to the farm. Why don't you just say he went to the farm? What does so bring in there? It's that thinking, but you're thinking as if you were speaking. So don't do that. Get rid of so. I think there was one person I took a highlighter and marked like 17 times the word so in this much writing. That's a little much. Yes, sir.
You might have skipped over you.
What?
You skipped over you before this.
I skipped over you? Okay.
Too bad.
Just remember, eliminate you, eliminate I, right in the third person. Yes, sir.
We're actually talking about you.
If you are actually talking about me, that should happen maybe twice this year, because I shouldn't be the example in history. If you mean what would happen if a person joined King Philip's tribe, not what would happen if you had joined. Now, by saying had, that would mean if I were alive back then, and that would technically be okay, but why don't we just leave it in the past and say, what would happen if a person? Yes, sir. Do I what?
What if we have something like we're writing in the past tense, but we need to take
It's in here, but I'll do that right now. If you should be writing in past tense. You're talking about something that happened previously. So we are talking about King Philip attacked, not King Philip attacks. King Philip has been dead for several hundred years. King Philip attacked. John Sassamon was found murdered. Watch your tenses, because what a lot of you guys do is you start off in the past tense and then boom, magically we jump into the present tense. So don't do that. John Sassamon was killed. John Sassamon had a tomahawk in his head. He was bleeding. Well, you're talking about a couple of hundred years ago, and all of a sudden he is bleeding. He's not bleeding anymore. He ran out of blood a long time ago. So keep it in the past tense. Yeah. This is the one and only way to write the title, the name of a royal. James the First. It's just the person's name and a Roman numeral. That's it. Never write James, Thefirst, not James the First, not James the Roman numeral one. Just this. That's read James the First. Henry the Eighth. Henry VIII. Henry the Eighth.
Can we put King in front of it or not?
Can you put what?
King in front of it or not?
You may, but by giving him the Roman numeral, it's either a king or a pope. And there have been way more kings than popes, so we will assume it was a king. Okay. Something I think that has gone away because of texting, because of the internet, it's kind of lost. That apostrophe S. That means possessive. It means belonging to. If you just put the cat's bed, CATS, bed, okay, there's a lot of cats, there's bed, but I don't know what the relationship is. If you put cat apostrophe S, the cat's bed, that means the bed belonging to the cat. It's his possession, it's possessive. Okay, this is huge. When you first mention anyone, you start off by saying both names. You start off saying Mary Dyer. After that, you never call the person by their first name. That only happens in baby books. That only happens in little kids' books. After that, you refer to the person by their last name. So it is George Washington, then it's Washington after that. You give the full name the first time, then you can just refer to that person by the last name. Yes, sir.
Let's say this is like
number is unlisted.
Yes.
All right. Difference, just for your own mind. A battle is not a war. Meaning there are some very, very rare chances of this was, but a battle is one clash of armies. A war is usually a number of battles between the two sides. Got it? So like you have the Battle of Gettysburg is one 3-day event where the armies clashed in the middle of the Civil War. The war is the Civil War, which lasted 4 years, not 3 days. So the battle is the one clash. The war is a whole lot of them. The Civil War, there were more than 10,000. Okay, with adjectives. Positive, comparative, superlative. If you're just describing someone, you would say, oh man, Claire is fast. Claire is fast. That's the positive. If you had two people and you said Claire is faster than Riley, that's comparative, comparing two. And if you had three, Claire is the fastest of all the girls in this class. That would be comparing three or more. I saw this a lot with Wamsuda Alexander and Metacom Phillips. Two people, yet he was constantly the eldest brother, the oldest brother, the youngest brother. No, be the elder or the older and the younger. Let's not be getting carried away with this proper English thing here, Mr. Holman. Past perfect tense. I just have to explain it to you. Oh, it's so lovely. He had gone. If you have that past tense of the helping verb to have before the action verb, that's the past perfect tense. And what it means is something that happened in the past and was completed before another event in the past. He had gone up the stairs to the gallows before he was hanged. Hanged is just past tense, but he had gone up. That whole action had taken place in the past before he was hanged. Start to finish, it was done. Okay? So this is an event that happened in the past before another event in the past. Cool. In this essay, is this what I play for girls with ponytails? Yeah. Okay. In this essay, I will tell you what I'm going to say. And you write yes and you say, in this essay, I have told you what I told you. So don't do that. Actually say something. Don't say in this essay, I will tell you, or in this essay, I have told you. And lose this, as you can see. Okay. I turn around. Oh, yeah. Actually, as you can see, I have a gun. Do I really have to explain that to her? I'm holding a gun on her. She can see it, as you can see. It's not needed. So, get rid of it. This unnecessary word. I think we're finished. Oh, yay. Let's get those notebooks out. You have in your assignment notebook now that you're going to get that signed tonight. You're going to do the spelling words. Do that right now. Leave it up on your desk so I can see it when I walk around in just a second. Don't cry, no more. He's getting a tissue.
Oh,
Big boy, please.
wow.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so it's your assignment notebook. Here I come to look at it. That's what I'm supposed to do. Great. Where is it? I feel like Annalise is not going to look at that assignment notebook and say, oh, wait, you wanted me to write that in there? It's going to be all set when I come back. Is it in there?
No.
Oh, right in there. What? Right in there. It's never too soon.
Oh, should I get it out?
Write it in your assignment notebook. All right, we have one good child. We're gonna keep her the rest of the year out.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
no, we're keeping Omar too. All right. What do we got? 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 What? What it is? You're writing in 2 spelling words, give read notes to mom, and get test signed. Yeah. What does it say? What do you say? Do not have you. Okay. Okay, it's in there? All right. Got it in there? Got it in? Got it in? Get it in? All of it. I want to see it all. I'm not gonna hand it back to you. I'm just gonna glance at it. Yeah. I'm gonna have to keep that if they want. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Done with the spelling words, boys.
You got signature written in there, Chloe?
Oh, no.
Get the signature.
Signature.
Get it in there? Spelling words, test sign, green note to mom. Yes, you do it? Did I see it already? What? You have to highlight what? No, it's entirely up to you, buddy. Those are your notes. Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Pennsylvania and Maryland. All right, here we go. Start off with Pennsylvania. William the Wise, that would be William Penn. That's capital Penn. William Penn, he became a Quaker. Probably not good. William Penn became a Quaker. Yes, sir.
Can you make it do it?
I don't know. Let's give her a shot. Not acting very well. William Penn became a Quaker. Now, William Penn is back in England. He's not in the colony. William Penn becomes a Quaker. He joins the Society of Friends. And remember what the Society of Friends believe. They believe everyone is their friend, everyone is their equal, the light of God is in everyone, so they don't need ministers, and they are pacifists. What's a pacifist? They don't fight. Guess what his dad does for a living? His dad is an admiral. An admiral is like a general for ships. He leads great big fleets of ships into battle. Generals lead armies, admirals lead navies. He's a warrior. He fights for a living, and his son has become a pacifist. This is not going to be a really happy relationship right now. And Admiral Penn says, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? This is so crazy. My kid has turned into one of these nutty, I'm a Quaker. Oh, what am I going to do? So he tries to talk his son out of it. Come on, William. You have to realize that there are, better people and worse people. I mean, come on, everybody's not equal. And Admiral Penn comes up with a plan. He says, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to take my son to court. Not like where they're having a trial, but the king's court. And William Penn, because his admiral was a big important man, William Penn will see all of these lords and ladies, and he'll say, wow, you know what? These people really are better. And then the king will come in. King Charles will come in. And, oh my gosh, this is going to be stupendous. This is King Charles the Second. King Charles will come in, and William will realize this guy is just way above everybody else. And so he'll know everyone's not equal. And once he knows everyone's not equal, his religion doesn't make any sense, the Society of Friends. So that's what I'm going to do. And William did go to court with his father. And he talked to a few people, was polite. The king came in, and everyone bowed, except for William. William walked across the room while everyone else was bowing, stuck out his hand and said, "Charles, so pleasant to meet you." That's not really the way you greet, well, the one who greets a king. Luckily, Charles thought that was the funniest thing that he had ever seen. Admiral Penn! You son's insane. But that was funny. So he doesn't get into any trouble, but William Penn's father, the admiral, is furious. He is so angry. You embarrassed me in front of the king. I can't believe you did that. And so William Penn's father kicks him out. Just get out. I can't go away. Live somewhere else until you finally figure out that this Quaker nonsense is just silliness. Come back when you're ready to be a good Anglican boy. Well, while they're estranged, and he's living apart, Admiral Penn dies. Now, Admiral Penn had been a very, very wealthy man. As a matter of fact, Admiral Penn was so wealthy that at one point in time he had lent the king a large amount of money. So the king owes this big money to Admiral Penn, but Admiral Penn has died, so now the king owes a large amount of money to William Penn. And he does not want to pay William Penn a penny. First of all, he doesn't have a whole lot of money. He's got to now get permission from Parliament to get it and such. So, but he says, I don't want to give this nut all his money. And so instead, he comes up with a plan. Everybody look up here for a minute. Remember that the little red lines, the political drawings of states today, are not the same as they were in colonial times. Take what is Pennsylvania now, but add what is also Delaware. This was what the king gave to William Penn as a proprietorship. He says, hey, William Penn, how about this, baby? I'll give you this as a proprietorship, and you can make a wonderful little colony for all your society of friends, buddies. Okay, you guys can all go over there, no persecution, nothing. Go live Quaker heaven over there. And William Penn says, I love it, I'll take it, your debt is forgiven. So he gets to be the proprietor of Pennsylvania, the Quaker proprietor of Pennsylvania, to repay this debt that the king owed to his father. So you gonna let you write for a minute? I'm gonna just walk over here and kick Omar. Okay, that was fun. Man, I'm good. Okay, you got it? Gonna move up here?
Yes, please.
Okay. William Penn is a Quaker, which means everyone is his friend and everyone is his equal. That includes Native Americans. So William Penn, when he went over to Pennsylvania to organize the colony, he brought gifts for his new neighbors and got along very well with the Indians. As a matter of fact, of all the colonies, Pennsylvania had the least Indian trouble because there were lots of Quakers there who treated them as friends and equals. As he was heading over to the New World, he laid out a city to be the center of his colony of Pennsylvania. The city was Philadelphia. Anybody have any idea what that means? No? No. Phil, the prefix Phil means what?
Phil of.
No, it's not person's name.
Oh.
Phil, Phil, the derivation, like Philharmonic, philanthropist, philosophy. A philanthropist gives away money. He loves people. Philharmonic, the love of harmony, beautiful music. Philosophy, the love of knowledge. So what does Phil mean? Love. And Delphi, Greek means brother. You ever heard anybody talk about Philadelphia as the city of brotherly love?
No.
That's exactly what it means. Oftentimes in sportscasts and things, they say, live from the city of brotherly love. That means Philadelphia. Okay, cool. They do. It's not really a terribly safe place. But hey, times change. Okay. I'm going to come back to this in a minute. I'm just going to do these quickly because it's really just what it says. Religious toleration. He would have loved it if everyone became a Quaker, but Quakers believe everyone is their friend, everyone is their equal. So if a Puritan moves in, welcome. If a Catholic moves in, welcome. If an Anglican moves in, welcome. So there was lots of religious toleration. Let me just add one word to that. There was lots of Christian religious toleration. They wouldn't have felt quite the same had a Jewish person or a Muslim person came in. They weren't ready to go that far yet. And remember, take off your blinders, they weren't mean. This was a huge step forward to tolerating everybody. And the last thing is, see the word Delaware kind of hangs down here on, how original, Delaware Bay. These were the lower three counties of Pennsylvania. Up here in Pennsylvania proper, their big business was lumber, wood. That's what they did. Down here, it was fishing and shipping. And they approached William Penn and said, hey, you know what? We have a different kind of economy. We do different things. We kind of need some different laws. Can we break away and become a separate colony? And William Penn agreed. So now you have 9. You have Virginia, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, and now you have Pennsylvania and Delaware. The only 2 I'll repeat is Pennsylvania and Delaware because you already had the last of the other 7 for the last step. So those should be listed somewhere right away. Okay, cool. Pennsylvania and Delaware. 2 more. Capital P-E-N-N-S-Y-L-V-A-N-I-A. Capital P-E-N-N-S-Y-L-V-A-N-I-A. Pennsylvania. Okay, you guys had enough Latin to know what Silwa is? Silwa means wood. So this is Penn's wood. It is not named after William Penn. William Penn named it after his father, Admiral Penn. Yes, boss?
So, is Delaware named after Delaware?
His family. I don't think it's the same guy. It's a long time later. Okay. What do we got? Oh, we have plenty of time. All right. Take a deep breath. I am about to tell you the most important lesson in American history this year. Yes, you will see this on tests. Yes, you will see this on exams. Yes, I will be talking about this continually all year long. So focus, focus, focus. All right. In the old world, they had a style of government called the divine right of king. In the divine right of kings said that, don't just draw the diagram, write it down so you remember what I'm saying here. The divine right of kings said that God, actually I don't even want that arrow there. The divine right of kings said that God looked around. He finds someone and gives him all the power. That's the king. The king gets everything. And the king can give it, and the king can take it from everyone else. The divine right of king. So the king can walk down the line and go, give him $1 million, kill her, chop his head off, give him a castle. And the next day they can go, nah, take the castle away, chop his head off. They can do whatever they want to. Think about this. Whatever comes out of the king's mouth, according to the European way of thinking back then, it's not the king, it's God speaking. If you wonder, I mean, how powerful were these people? God said, this is the guy you have to follow, and if you don't follow him, you're going against God's wishes. That's why those kings were so powerful. Yes, boss?
Can you repeat the whole thing like sentence?
Not slowly enough for you to get it all, but I will. Yes.
But what happened to the Magna Carta?
That's when that started breaking down. Good question.
For the king, did the kings like actually think that God chose them?
Yes. Hey, I'm in charge of this kingdom. How could that happen? Okay.
Look and everything.
Do you not think, no matter who wins the presidential election in November, that they will believe it was God's choice, God's on their side?
No.
Of course. Because how else could I become president or king or whatever? Okay? Do you not think that a lot of people that own companies or get their medical degrees or their law degrees, whatever, go, I have been blessed. That means God chose me to do this. Okay, here we go. The divine right of kings, one more time. The divine right of kings is the idea from Europe. This is the European idea of government. That God chose one person, gave him all the power, and that person, the king, could give or take from anyone else anytime they wanted to. Okay. Then along comes another idea. It was first put into practice in America, but it really comes from French and English philosophers, so we can't really claim it as the American, but it's the American way of thinking, and it's called natural rights. Natural rights say that God gave not a king, but God gave to each human being certain rights. And that those people can give some of those rights to a government. They can give up some of their rights in exchange for the protection of law. Let me say that again. Natural rights philosophy says God gave to each human being certain rights, and that people can give up some of those rights in exchange for the protection of law. And the natural rights are generally considered life, liberty, and property. Now let me explain how they arrived at this. So here we have, there's no government. No government. We're all running naked through the woods. Well, the world's just been created. There's no government, but we all have life. I mean, if a baby was born yesterday, Donald Trump did not sign a bill saying, okay, new baby coming. Government didn't give life, God gave life. Okay, so first there's life, didn't come from government. Next there's liberty. There's no government, we can do whatever we want to. Pick up a stick and hit Annalise. Boom. Then there's property. We're here in the world, and if we're hungry, we can eat that apple growing on the tree. And we can build a shelter with these logs, and we can get clothing from borrowing the skin off the animals. Okay, we're not borrowing it, we're actually taking it permanently. Anyway, there's life, liberty, and property given to us by God, not from the government. And we can give up some of those rights in exchange for the protection of laws. Okay, let me explain this to you. Here you have, well, frankly, it gets a little crazy, all these restrictions and all. So after a while, I borrow one of the academy vans. And I just want to go out for a drive in the middle of the day. And so I'm driving around and I decide, I wonder how fast this thing will go. So I'm coming down Capitol Drive, heading east from Culver, and I'm going 180 miles an hour. And I look over there and I pass St. Dominic's. And there are all those kids out in those stupid blue uniforms. And I hate those blue uniforms, so I just go to the parking lot. They're flying everywhere. Instantly another blue and red uniform. So I go through the parking lot and kill all kinds of kids and run through it. And I come back and I say, I feel better. But it was a state of nature. See, so there's no law or anything. So I'm okay. Except lunchtime. You guys go out. And here comes Sister Mary Jane from St. Dominic. And Sister Mary Jane borrowed the school snowplow. Here go you guys. And so I say, wait a minute, I don't care about the kids in the little blue uniforms, but you guys are lost. You're my kids, so this is wrong. So I get together with Sister Mary Jane and I say, okay, listen, let's give up some of our freedom. We'll give up the freedom to drive vans and snowplows through playgrounds while kids are there. And in exchange, we won't have our children killed, okay? So we give up some of our freedom in exchange for the protection of law. And when you think about any law, that's what it does. Why do you actually have a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit in front of schools? It's just for that reason. So we don't have a bunch of roadkill wearing school uniforms, okay? We don't want that. Okay, your hand up? Did your hand up, bud? No? Okay, you did. The philosophy is that God created each human being and gave each human being certain rights, life, liberty, property, and that people can form a government whereby they give up some of those rights in exchange for the protection of law. So God gave to each individual person certain rights. Those come from God, not the government, but they can give up some of those in exchange for the protection of law, as opposed to the divine right of kings, where God gives the king everything. And he can give it or take it from anyone, anytime. Yes. You got to grab the idea, buddy, and write down what you need for your notes. So don't write, listen. People can give up, look, people can give up some of their rights in exchange for the protection of law. Now write whatever you want. Okay, cool. Now I get to spray you. I mean your desk.